Welcome back to Cure for the Common Game. Today in 829, it's tongue twister, Halana and Alena. I always mess that up. Partners. 2 red and a green for a 2/3 first strike reach. That reach matters. I almost forgot about it once. At the beginning of combat on your turn, put X/1/1 counters on another target creature you control, where X is this creature's power. That creature gains haste until end of turn. So, it's kind of like a miniature Xenagos, maybe. However, not really. There's a couple of things that it checks that we want to focus in on. Number one, it's kind of Voltron-y in the fact that we want Halana and Alena here to have a really big power, so that we can put those counters on another creature. Now, let's look at our ramp first. I have played this deck a couple of times, and I'm telling you, Ferdlid was my turn 3 play, and then I played my commander, and that, just with that, I was able to ramp so much, because I moved to combat. Even though I'm not going to attack, I would put 2 more counters on the Ferdlid, and then remove the 2 counters to get the lands. And it was fine as long as my opponent let me do that. But eventually, after I got 7 or 8 lands off of the Ferdlid, it's time to die. But really good interaction there. We do have a boatload of ramp. This may be, I don't know. Y'all tell me if this is excessive. We have Llanowar Elves, Firewild Boulder Post, Cultivate, Untamed Wilds, Gruul Locket, Road to Ruin. It's got a backside that matters. Gruul Signet, Explorer Scope. I figure since we are planning on attacking with creatures, Explorer Scope, 38% of the time it should get us a land, right? Because that's how many lands I run. Alena, by herself, which is, a good card. Especially power among creatures you control that enter the battlefield that turn. We have some doozies. We do. We'll get to those in a minute. Ranger's Path, Rampant Growth, Finhorn Elf. I can't preach good enough about Mana Geyser. Farseek. Gillandra. I've got Gillandra with the mana ramp and not the card draw, because you're always going to get the mana. You're not always going to get to draw the card. Far Wanderings, good old Steve, the Secure Tribe Elder, Zertod Druid, Elysian Caryatid. Trying this Terramorph period. It's 2 Rampant Growths on 1 card. It does cost 4. And then, of course, the Goblin Anarchomancer. That's all of our non-artifact cards, just about our whole deck is, red or green. So, a little bit of card draw. The Garruk's Pack Leader, Harmonize, Momentous Fall. I felt safe enough to put a Nissa Voice of Zendikar in there, because we do have enough creatures to protect her. Yeah, I did play her. I did get to ultimate her, so that helps a little bit. But now, we want to make our commander the power as large as possible, so that when we move to combat, we can put that many counters over on something else. So, I did something I normally don't do. I put the Granite Grip and the Blanchwood Armor in the same deck. There are a lot of basics, but, even if it bumps it up by 2 or 3, right, each, that's 2 or 3 more counters. The Loxodon Warhammer. Not to mention, we're pumping up our commander for our other guys, but we're still having a large commander, right? Gruul Warchant, just your team, and gives them menace. Rancor, always worth its weight in gold. Which, by the way, you've heard me say that Magic card worth their weight in gold. I looked it up a while back. Now, the price of gold does fluctuate every day. But at the time I looked it up, it was around $86. If a Magic card was worth $86, it is literally worth its weight in gold. Now, I know Rancor's not an $86 card, but there are plenty of Magic cards that are 86 and above. So, just weird tidbit of information. Thought y'all might like to know. A Stonewood Invocation is great. It's also kind of a counterspell. I had a chance to play the Bounty of the Might. Now, I chose, because it is worded like that, I chose the same creature all 3 times. And it was my commander, and then I put those 11 count. Yeah, I was sick. And then why not? Colossification. Okay, this is the perfect Colossification deck, because the drawback to Colossification is when it enters the battlefield, you got to tap that creature. Well, we don't care. If we put this on our commander, I mean, yeah, it'd be cool to have that big attacker that turn, but you don't have to take the turn off after making the 7-mana investment. You put this on your commander, move to combat, and then you put the 20-something counters over on another creature. You want to see some other... before we get to other creatures, let's look at things that matter to +1/+1 counters. Dusk Shell Crawler. Each creature with a counter on it has trample. Tuskguard Captain says the same thing. Each creature with a counter on it has a trample. And then Loyal Guardian is just going to put counters on your team if you control your commander, which that's the idea, is to control the commander. Now, let's look at our creatures, Thorn-Wheeled Archer is almost removal in my book. It's reach, it's death touch. A lot of times people just don't swing at you. That angel stays away. Unless it's Avacyn. She never stays away from nothing. Itali, the Primal Storm, is a great card. The only problem with Itali is you got to attack. You want to attack with Itali every single turn just to get that bump, right? And it's not hard to beat 6/6 in the size game. So you can mount up counters on it. Rocks that regenerate and has saved rocks, and Thorn Elemental. Those are great cards to mount up counters on because I don't care if you block. I'm just still going to deal the damage to you. To your Bear Claw. It gets +X/+X, where X is the greatest power among other creatures you control. So that's if you put 20 counters on something else, and then Tuya gets the 20, or maybe the Wild Beastmaster. Each other creature you control, this is where we love to mount up counters on, because you put the counters on the Wild Beastmaster and your whole team gets the bonus, right? Oh, I love it. Halana, you can pay 2, deals down, yeah. Moss Bridge Trolls, we're getting into some big ones now. Just a 5/5 that automatically regenerates, and oh yeah, in a pinch, it can get really large. Kogla the Titan Ape. It's kind of removal because it fights. It attacks. You get to naturalize something. Now, I don't think we have a whole lot of humans to activate, but it's a really big monkey. Iron Scale Hydra. Prevent the damage and put a counter on it. I know this was in the previous deck, but, why not mount up counters on a Hydra? Silverclad Ferocidon. It's dealt damage. Each opponent sacrifices a permanent. They don't want to block that. Borborygmos. Oh, Bobo. Deals combat damage. Put a 1/1 counter on your team. Yeah. And then Savage-Born Hydra. Now, this thing. Double strike. X 1/1 counters on it. I think this is... I don't think I won that game, but I do think I took a player out with a 20/20 double striking Savage-Born Hydra, and I gave it trample. I think it had a Rancor. Anyway, good card. Now, here's the thing. Our commander says at the beginning of combat, pass out those counters. So what if we had more than one combat? The Relentless Assault, we could just... You do your first combat with all these counters, and then you go to your second combat, and you got all these counters. But what if you had, like, a Savage Ventmaw and a Hellkite Charger, to where once those get out there, you're effectively paying 1 mana per combat step. Yeah, that's ridiculous. and they're both attack triggers, so if you make them big enough, they will live through whatever's blocking them, and you can just keep spending that red mana to your heart's desire. I do have a couple of weird ones. I didn't know where to classify. Fires of Yavimaya I like, and then, of course, Fire Shrieker, given that double strike. So, little removal in Reclamation Sage, Naturalize, Blaze. I got on this Portal kick, and Blaze, I mean, yeah, I know. Earthquake. I have looked around. I've played this deck a couple of times now. I have looked around. I have an Earthquake in my hand several times, and I'm like, well, I can kill everybody, including me. Gorilla Shaman. Love they reprinted the Mox Monkey here with as much mana as we have. I know it ate up Soul Ring, maybe 2. And Thrashing Brontodon, which is going to bring us to our non-basic lands. We have the Slagwood Bridge, the Command Tower, Evolving Wilds, Rogue's Passage. I mean, we are pumping up our commander. We might get to the magic 21 number, right? Terramorphic Expanse, Gruul Guildgate, Kazandu Refuge, Rugged Highlands, Mountain Valley, and Gruul Turf. And that is the partners. +1. So, I had fun. I played it in, I think I played it in a multiplayer, and then I played it in a one-on-one. And I had fun both ways. So, that is 829. About to finish that row. And I do appreciate y'all watching, liking, subscribing, all that stuff. So if you know anybody who would be interested, I know it's kind of a hard sell because not everybody's going to care about every deck. I get it. But spread the word. I appreciate it. Anyway, we're going to go ahead and shuffle and cut.